chance, didn't it? Yeah, very slight. So how about we lower this one very slightly? Will that do it? Or I just have to launch very, very fast. That's a good one. Just launch! The best kind of ship. You just go, you have to launch immediately, or else the whole thing will destabilize and explode. I'm totally going to go with that theory. I'm going to go with the theory of you have to launch immediately. So as soon as we get physics, we press T and we launch. Or we launch and then press T. That's what we're going to do. As soon as physics gets enabled, we launch and we press T. There we go! And the thing didn't fall to pieces. We did lose the engine. Yeah, the engine fell off. I see we're missing an engine there. It's, yeah, we kind of need that. Yeah, this engine, as good as it might be, doesn't actually fit. So, unfortunately, I have to do it that way. So that. Yes. Sad, but we'll have to try the nuclear engine another time. All the tweaking just to get one satellite, folks, that will get us into orbit. And nobody's died yet. Like, they wouldn't have died in the other one. They would have eventually landed, and it all would have been good. See? No explosions this time. Lift off! The objective is space. We may have already been there, but this time we're going there to put something there permanently. And it'll have panels and flashy buttons and pretty pictures. It has a green button to signal that there is power. So, solid boosters, getting us quite high up. Hopefully, the 4 boosters here will be able to do more of the stuff in space, and then the big booster here will be able to do all the fancy schmancy manoeuvring. And I see the thrusters have failed. Now, it's gaining speed. It's always good. We could try turning ourselves over for a more efficient burn. Very slowly, moving ourselves to a 45 degrees angle. Apparently this is more efficient. We'll see if that's the case. We'll see if I can actually stop the thing from toppling over with some fine RCS. And back to SAS. Go. I wonder if we can actually get into orbit with this thing. I mean, we're using up a lot of fuel here. This fuel is just vanishing. But we still have all the fuel in that. 45, 60, 70, 50, 51, 52. We're not going to get all the way up. However, we have got an orbit of 64 there. There we go. We still have an engine, and has a fair bit of fuel. Wait for the apoapsis to get to 100,000. Have a fair bit of fuel. Should be able to do what we need it to. When we get into space, though, that's when it's all going to kick off, folks. Space. Just keep that in mind as we're doing all of this. We're doing it all for space. 90, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. There we go. And we still have a lot of fuel left, including all the fuel in this. By the way, we're now in space. can extend these handy-dandy solar panels now. Yeah, look at that. Okay, let's retract the solar panels. They, by the way, do move to look at sunlight. So, it's all good. And there is the sun. Never before has Jebediah seen something prettier. Except he can't see it, because he's not facing the right way. Never mind. Okay, 59 seconds. We use RCS to get us into a good position. Facing there, and then we start burning. By doing this, we increase the radius of the orbit, presuming at the moment that there is an orbit, which there isn't, because we kind of don't go all the way around the planet yet. The keyword is yet. Give it time, folks. Give it time. We will. We will. We will get around the planet. See? Already. Already. We are getting close. However, the fuel in this is slowly running out. We have to hope that the final chunk of fuel will be sufficient to get us into that orbit. Jebediah is just so thrilled anyway. Okay. Decouple that. And we have one more shot at this. Which is the final chunk of fuel. Now, as you can see, this thing controls really well, because the advanced SES is much... Aha! 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 You see? You see that? You see that? Stop! 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 Look at that, people. Look at that. Feast your eyes on the fact that Kikoskia has managed to make an orbit. Let's extend those panels. There's no wind resistance out here. We are in space. There is no space wind. We'll turn on all the lights too. Apparently U turns on the lights. It does! Look! The ship's butt is lit! Isn't this awesome? A ship that can easily get to orbit. Now, what we want to do is we want to get to the... want to orbit around. That is going to crash eventually, which is good. No debris in our world. Get to zoom around. That'll crash eventually. Boom, there it went. Killing many millions of people. But that's okay! Because science! That's the apoapsis, the slowest part, the fastest part we are in the orbit, and the periapsis is the slowest. So, when we get to the periapsis, we will slow down. It's 3 minutes till we get there. Now it's 40 seconds. Turning off that, we're going to navigate not to increase the radius of this orbit, but to decrease the radius of the orbit. Which is handily marked out by this icon. Get the SAS on to keep us steady, and you can see already, by only expending a little fuel, the orbit is shrinking. We want to get it roughly level with this one, about 100. You know you're getting it right when that happens. There we go. And then, just to make sure, we'll warp again. Because that's a bit close. 89. We want it a bit bigger. We still have a fair amount of fuel. How much do we have? 105 litres. Perfect. Not perfect, but enough. It's enough. Okay. Apoapsis approaching. go slow. This time, we want to make this bigger. So, slow down. Got about 18 seconds. This is pretty much the most fuel efficient you can get. Perfect. 103, 103. Excellent. And as you can see, we're still good. Now, you may be wondering, how are we going to actually remove this? Well, we're going to do it manually. How much batteries this got? Pretty much full. So, you see this? Decouple. And then, by pressing the square brackets key, we can switch to this. Extend the panels. Extend the panels. They will find the sun. They have found the sun. Ergo, now we have constant power. And then, toggle the Umbrellaton. Look at that. And we can subtly adjust it. And we even have an engine on here. A tiny engine. We have a tiny engine. Caps lock does subtle movements. Fortunately, the thing is kind of wobbling. There we go. There we go! Look at that! Aren't you impressed, folks? We can even rename it. And we will. This is a station. And we shall call it the LP Satellite. The LP Pew Pew Satellite. There we go. But we're not done yet, because we still have Jebediah out in space. Also, we have a tiny bit of space debris. We're going to end the flight of the tiny bit of space debris, because we have no desire to keep a tiny bit of space debris like that. And as you can see now, it has the icon of a satellite. It is orbiting. But we want to get Satellite Launcher Mark 1 back. So how are we going to do this? Well, that's quite simple. There's the satellite. What we want to do is we're at the periapsis here. Pretty much, to get back, we just need to retro burn. Retro burn enough that our orbit becomes decaying. More than hopefully that our orbit will smack bang straight into Kerbin. See, folks, for all of my bodging around in space, I do know what I'm doing sometimes. So, as you can see there, bring this back up. Thrusting here degrades the orbit. We want to degrade the orbit a lot. To the point that we crash. Our orbit is now lower than the satellite, so we'll eventually pass it. In fact, it's right there. 2.3 kilometers and going further away. So, just fast forward a bit. And slowly but surely, we'll end up back in orbit of the planet, in a decaying orbit. I think it's time to retract the solar panels now. We don't have much use for them, but we'll keep the lights on, because bling. Eventually, we will end up back in Kerbal orbit. We could try landing this thing, but there's no point. It'll just explode anyway, probably. Good old Jebediah. We aren't yet in the we aren't in the proper parts of the atmosphere. However, we will want to detach this when we get to the upper parts of the atmosphere. When we're just about to hit it, because if we hit it with this on, there'll be a lot of burn. So, goodbye, module! Have fun destroying millions of lives! So the only thing we have left now are the parachutes. The parachutes should be what keeps this guy alive, as we burn up in re-entry! Those parachutes better not break. Where are we landing, anyway? It would seem we are landing in the Arctic. This is okay. At 10,000 meters, I'm going to activate the parachutes. Parachutes active! They will slow our descent substantially. And Jebediah will live to see another day. Oh yes, he will live to see another day. So folks, that was me launching a satellite into orbit. It doesn't have any connectors, it's not designed to be part of a space station, it's just a satellite. Its only purpose is to provide communication arrays for the Kerbals. It doesn't have a short-range one, just a long-range. No backup, so, going pretty slow there. Eventually, it will land. Unless something horribly wrong happens. About 500 meters these things should open. There we go. And now we are decelerating at 4 meters per second as they clip through each other gloriously. And pretty soon, our space hero will be happily settled down back on Kerbal in the middle of the desolate North Pole. But there's a satellite up there, and he was responsible for putting it there. And we can all be thankful for Jebediah for that. Badoosh! There we go! Mission accomplished! Get out and show everybody how awesome you are! Yeah, there's a lot of gravity here, isn't there? Oh well. He goes, no hot dogs. Screw this. Gets back into his pod. So, folks, we'll end the flight, as that was a humongous success. What can you see outside? Blue. Okay. End the flight, and go to the tracking station, because now there's the LP Pew Pew satellite. Always functional. That will pretty much remain in orbit forever, and we have just enough fuel that if we wanted to, we could alter its flight and all sorts. Right now it's pointing out into space. If we faced it straight down, in the direction of our orbit, it would probably stay facing down forever. Like, say, there? We'll try that. We'll try that. Anyway, that, my good sir, go to the Space Center, never end the flight there, is me putting a satellite into Kerbal orbit. Come back next time when I try to get to the Mun. And oh dear, if you thought I had problems getting this into orbit, imagine when I try to go there. Till then, folks, I'll catch you later. See you then.